Hi guys, Spontaneity here. I'm an Ingenuity person.
I'm Spontaneous One.
And we're back at it again with another Magic the Gathering video.
So, in the Magic community, there's a lot of controversy of Paradox Engine versus the One Ring, and we're just kind of going to talk about it, give our personal opinions, and give some information that we know about them. So, Paradox Engine is from a couple years ago, I think 2017. It reads, Paradox Engine is 5 generic cost, legendary artifact. Whenever you cast a spell, untap all non-land permanents you control.
The One Ring, as you can see, is a legendary artifact for 4 mana. Has indestructible. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you gain protection from everything until your next turn. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life for each bird encounter on the One Ring, and you can tap One Ring to put a bird encounter on it, and then draw a card for each bird encounter on the One Ring.
Yep. Just based on text, Paradox Engine is a lot more simple of a card. In Commander, which is the main format that we play for Magic the Gathering, Paradox Engine is banned, and the One Ring is currently not banned.
Correct.
And a lot of people in the community say, well, if the One Ring can exist, then Paradox Engine should exist. And a lot of people say if one's banned, the other should be banned. And we're just kind of going to give our opinions on it. For me, I think both of them should be unbanned or both of them should be banned.
I would disagree. I am for the vote that this should stay legal and that should... I mean, I could see where that could be unbanned, but it's more... You're more likely to go infinite with that than you are with this.
And in the counter argument, Paradox Engine, you have to build the deck around. The One Ring, you can splash into any deck.
Do you really need to build it around there?
Yes, because if you don't have Mana Rocks or Mana Dorks, then this is a practically useless card. Other than if you attacked and then played a spell, you could untap your permanents.
Mm-hmm.
The base floor of the card, that one you don't take damage for a turn, and then you get to draw a bunch of cards. This one, base floor, you just untap your creatures when you play spells.
True.
So, in certain decks, you could go infinite with Paradox Engine. You play a Kinrith deck or a Kinnan deck where you double the amount of mana or you have an easy draw outlet, you can easily just keep on drawing cards and keep on playing cards to keep your Mana Dorks and Mana Rocks up. Mm-hmm. In decks with the One Ring, you can continue blinking it, where you keep on getting indestructible. You can keep untapping it to get a bunch of draw abilities. And I think the main reason people are okay with One Ring is because it does have a downside. You take damage.
Mm-hmm. Also, for blinking, you have to cast it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, if you're going to be spending 4 mana to do, I mean, yeah. But for what's like a thing that would blink the One Ring? I currently can't think of something that would just return it to your hand.
There are cards that are return target permanent to its owner's hand.
The one I could be wrong. I think does Cloudstone Curio do that? But I think
so.
It's not artifact though.
I thought it was non-land.
Could potentially be.
And the community's split, and I honestly see why it's split. It pretty much is how you gauge the power levels of these cards.
Mm-hmm.
Like the One Ring, I think it's an auto-include as long as you need card draw. And every deck could use card draw.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what's the 0-cost artifact? Mana Crypt. Yes, you take damage from Mana Crypt sometimes, but it's a Soul Ring for free.
Yeah, I mean, I know, so, depending on certain decks, I would run a Mana Crypt. Other decks I wouldn't, because that risk of 3 damage could mean the game for you, unless you have a way of getting rid of it.
I also think that the One Ring is more powerful in the fact that it has indestructible as a form to prevent removal. And it also helps you stay alive if you can give it flash with a myriad of different reasons.
True.
You can just not die for a turn.
True. I mean, and also with like Paradox Engine, there are several ways that you could For example, you could use an Isochron Scepter,
Scepter, yep.
and
to just
a
keep on.
dramatic reversal. You not only untap all your non-land permanents, with that you untap all your lands as well.
I'd make the counter argument with that is even more powerful than Paradox Engine itself.
Isochron Scepter?
Mm-hmm. Because you can go infinite with, but you also need card draw. And I think them together are very strong because the One Ring, you continuously draw cards, and Paradox Engine can untap the One Ring. So I can see why they don't want both them unbanned, because together they would be very scary.
True.
But also, they're not super powerful on their own. The One Ring is strong by itself, but it's not super powerful.
True.
You need something to put those cards you draw in. For Paradox Engine, you need something to put that mana that you're untapping with.
Mm-hmm.
At base level, they're not that powerful. Now, the ceilings for them, the One Ring you can deck out pretty fast.
If you have card draw with this, and a functional,
I think you need a bigger setup for Paradox Engine to be busted.
I mean, I don't know, because to consistently untap this, I could think of Clock of Omens, which requires you to have 2 other artifacts.
Well, but there's also the Unwinding Clock that untaps at every turn.
True, which
it's not a sorcery speed to tap it. So you could tap it every turn with Seaborn Muse or other cards that untap it.
Mm-hmm.
So each turn, you play it on your turn, you take no damage because you have protection from everything. Your turn you draw 1, second player's turn you draw 2, third player's turn you draw 3, fourth player's turn you draw 4. You just drew 10 cards, and it's now your turn again, and you only take 4 damage. Paradox Engine, it's not that great on other players' turns unless you have
10 cards.
So your turn 1.
Yeah.
Second player turn 2. Third player's turn 3.
You're not untapping it.
Unwinding Clock.
Yeah, you're only untapping it once.
Unwinding Clock is every instep or upkeep?
Every upkeep, so you draw 1 card during each of their turns, not 2.
No, because it's based on the burden counters. You put a burden counter on it, and then you draw a card per burden counter.
Okay, yeah.
So you draw 10 cards by your next turn.
That is pretty nasty.
Compared to Paradox Engine, which my argument with Paradox Engine being busted is counter spells, because I can cast a counter spell on your turn and then untap all my stuff to then cast a counter spell on the next person's turn. But again, I need cards to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So Paradox Engine, you need a couple other cards to do. The One Ring, you need 1 other card, maybe 2 other cards.
Yeah.
The consistency does matter.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I think they both should be banned. If we're going to have one banned, we should have both of them banned, because both of them, Paradox Engine goes infinite with the kitchen sink.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of ways to make it busted. The One Ring doesn't go infinite, but the amount of advantage you get from the One Ring is greater than Paradox Engine in 9 out of 10 situations.
True.
And I feel like it's an auto-include because if you play artifacts, an indestructible artifact is very good.
I've also thought about putting it in my Urza deck when I don't know why I haven't done it yet.
It's just overall, both of them are strong cards. This video is not for us to say, oh, they're weak, that's why they should be unbanned.
Definitely not.
Both of them are format defining, but for CEDH, which is something that I personally don't play, they have different standards of good.
Yeah. I could be wrong with this statement, but I think most of the hype around these 2 cards, more specifically the One Ring, was I think a lot of people were, and I could be wrong about this, were expecting the One Ring to be banned in Modern, and then it wasn't. Which, personally, I don't play a lot of Modern, but I feel if they were going to ban it in Modern, there could be a pretty good chance they would ban it in Commander, which I don't see. There's so many other things that could be that I consider better than this. There's not a lot, but there
Mhm.
are a few things. And to see it banned would be kind of sad. I'm also a firm believer that Aeon's Torn could be unbanned. Not a lot of people share that opinion, but
So I
anyways.
think overall, if you want to play either of the cards, I think Rule 0 is the most important rule. You always talk to your play group about it.
Mhm.
If everyone's okay with it, then you go with what their group thinks. Overall, I think both cards.
Unless you're playing Armageddon.
I play Armageddon in one deck. I think both cards have their own rights to be on the ban list. I think both cards have their own rights to not. It kind of just depends on who plays with it. And each card can be not every card, but each card can be broken in their own way. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video.
We'll see you in the next one.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.